Some roads lead to nowhere. Some knocks should never be answered. Some drinks cost more than money. And some New Year's visitors never leave. It was supposed to be the perfect summer road trip. Jared, a 26-year-old freelance photographer, had planned a solo drive from Oregon to Colorado, hoping to shoot some forgotten Americana and eerie backroads for his new photo series. He had packed his old Jeep Wrangler with film, gear, snacks, and an old-school paper map. He liked to keep it analog, even in 2025. It was on day 3, somewhere in the emptiness of rural Utah, when Jared first saw the sign. Scenic Route 179, Ghost Hollow Pass. The name alone was enough to pique his curiosity. He checked his GPS. It didn't even register the route. Just an empty patch of desert and some wriggling lines. Perfect, Jared said to himself with a grin. Off the grid it is. He turned off the main highway and onto Route 179, kicking up a cloud of orange dust behind him. The road was narrow, cracked, and rarely used. There were no other cars, no signs, no fences, just long stretches of desert brush, dead trees, and the occasional coyote darting across the road. About 30 minutes in, he started feeling watched. At first, he chalked it up to being alone and too deep in his head. But then the static on his radio kicked in. His phone had already lost signal an hour ago. Now, even the analog station he'd tuned earlier, some old-timey country, turned into a low, droning hum, as if the air itself was vibrating. That's when he saw her, a woman, standing by the side of the road, barefoot, in a long white dress. Her head was down, black hair covering her face, arms stiff by her sides. She didn't raise her thumb, didn't move, just stood there. Jared slammed the brakes, dust rising like a shroud. He backed up slowly, heart pounding. "Are you okay?" he called out from his window. She didn't move. Jared felt a chill, despite the 90-degree heat. He hesitated, then stepped out of the Jeep. "Do you need help?" That's when she raised her head. Her face wasn't quite right. Pale, cracked like old porcelain. Her eyes were pitch black, not just dark, void. Jared jumped back. She stepped forward, her joints clicking unnaturally like broken hinges. He didn't wait. Jared sprinted to the Jeep, yanked the door open, and slammed it shut as she suddenly broke into a sprint toward him. He floored the gas. The Jeep roared to life and tore down the road, fishtailing on the dust. He glanced in the mirror. She was gone, but his relief was short-lived. Every couple of miles, she reappeared, either by the side of the road, behind a cactus, in the rear-view mirror. At one point, he swore she was in the back seat, but when he turned around, it was empty. The desert sun began to set, and the road seemed to stretch endlessly. No turns, no exits, no way back. His fuel gauge was dropping fast. Then, out of nowhere, a rustic gas station appeared. No brand, no signs. Just a shack with one pump and a flickering red, open light. Jared pulled in, the Jeep nearly on empty. He stepped out, looking around. The place felt ancient. An old man in a rocking chair sat in the corner, wearing denim overalls and a wide-brimmed hat. He didn't look up. "Hey!" Jared called. "You work here?" The man slowly lifted his head. "You shouldn't be here, son. I need gas. And directions." "You took the Hollow Pass." "Yeah." The man squinted. "Folks who take that road don't come back the same, if they come back at all." Jared chuckled nervously. "Look, I'm just trying to get back to the highway." The old man pointed down the road. "Keep driving. Don't stop, no matter what you see. And if she gets in, you'll never leave." Jared didn't wait for more. He pumped the gas, threw cash at the counter, and sped off. Night fell quickly, unnaturally so. The moon was a blood orange, and the stars above seemed wrong, like a sky from another place. That's when the Jeep started acting up. The engine sputtered. The lights flickered. The speedometer bounced between 20 and 80, even though he held the pedal steady. And then, bang, a loud pop. A tire blew. Jared pulled over, heart racing. Total darkness surrounded him. The only sound was his heavy breathing and the Jeep's ticking engine. He stepped out with a flashlight. The tire was shredded, claw marks torn through the rubber. Then he heard her, a soft whisper behind him. "Don't leave me." He turned around slowly. She was there, right behind him. She lunged. He scrambled back into the Jeep, slamming the door, locking it. She banged on the window, screaming now, her face pressed to the glass. Then, just as quickly, silence. She vanished again. Breath trembling, Jared turned the key. Miraculously, the Jeep roared to life. This time, the road began to change. He saw lights ahead. Civilization. A highway sign. Exit 95, Colorado border. When he finally reached the main highway, the Jeep sputtered one last time and died. He got out, dropped his knees, and stared back down the road behind him. Nothing but empty desert. No sign of Route 179. No hollow pass. Not even the gas station. Just an endless stretch of blacktop. To this day, Jared refuses to drive at night. He never found Route 179 on any map again. But every now and then, he hears of travelers vanishing in Utah, never seen again. And each time, he sees that woman's face in his dreams. It was supposed to be a relaxing weekend alone. Emma, 23, had just moved into her first apartment in a quiet neighborhood in upstate New York. Her roommate was out of town for the weekend, and Emma planned to spend it binge-watching shows, eating junk food, and catching up on some freelance graphic design work. She wasn't the type to scare easily. The apartment was on the third floor of an older building, with creaky floors, a rusty fire escape, and walls so thin she could hear her neighbors argue over dinner. Friday night passed quietly, but Saturday is when the unease began. It started with the knocking. At 3:13 a.m., Emma was awoken by 3 slow knocks on her front door. Knock, knock, knock. She sat up, heart already racing. Who knocks at 3 in the morning? She grabbed her phone. No texts, no missed calls. She crept toward the door and looked through the peephole. No one. She waited a minute, then went back to bed, heart still thumping. The next day, Emma tried to brush it off. Probably someone knocking on the wrong door, maybe a drunk neighbor. But that night, she made sure every door was locked. She even propped a chair against the doorknob, just in case. At exactly 3:13 a.m., it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. This time it was louder. She tiptoed to the door and looked through the peephole. Again, no one there. But as she backed away, she heard scratching from the other side. Light at first, then more frantic, like nails scraping against wood. Emma whispered to herself, "Nope, nope, nope," and backed into her bedroom, locking the door. She stayed up until sunrise, staring at the door. The next day, she went downstairs to talk to her neighbor, Mrs. Jensen, a sweet old lady who'd lived in the building for 30 years. When Emma mentioned the knocks, Mrs. Jensen's face paled. "You live in 3B?" "Yes." Mrs. Jensen hesitated. "You should sleep somewhere else tonight, dear." "Why? What's going on?" Mrs. Jensen sighed. "Years ago, a woman lived in that same apartment. She was alone too. One night, she called 911, saying someone was knocking at her door every night. But when the police came, they found nothing. One night, she opened it. Emma's blood ran cold. She was never seen again," Mrs. Jensen continued. "Door wide open. Apartment untouched. Just gone." Emma didn't believe in ghosts or urban legends, but she couldn't deny the fear creeping into her chest. Still, she stayed that night. She had pepper spray by her bed and her phone flashlight ready. And again, 3:13 a.m., the knocking. But this time it wasn't just a door. It came from the walls, the windows, even her closet. She screamed and turned on all the lights. Everything went silent. She tried calling the police, but her phone had no signal. Emma ran to the hallway, but the front door was open. She was sure she had locked it. Shaking, she slammed it shut, bolted every lock, and backed away. Then she noticed something on the inside of the door. A single handprint, small, child-sized. and black, like ash. She didn't sleep that night. The next day, Emma went to the building manager. He laughed off her concern, but agreed to install a camera in front of her door. That night, she waited, not in bed, but on the couch, lights off, phone recording, watching the live feed from the hallway camera on her laptop. 3:13 a.m. came. She held her breath. On the camera, nothing. But in real life, knock, knock, knock. She jumped, heart in her throat. On the screen, the hallway remained empty, but the door was shaking. Not just knocking now, pounding. Then she heard it, a voice whispering from the other side. "Emma, I'm here now. Let me in." Her name. No one should know her name. She whispered to herself over and over, "Don't open the door. Don't open the door." But her feet were already moving, as if pulled by something invisible. Her hand trembled as it reached for the knob. Then she snapped out of it. "No!" she screamed, backing away. The pounding stopped, and everything went quiet. The next morning, she reviewed the hallway camera footage, and there it was. At 3:13 a.m., the hallway lights flickered, and then, for 3 seconds, a figure appeared. Tall, thin, a black silhouette, standing right outside her door. No face, no features, just shadow. Then gone. Emma moved out that day. Months later, her ex-roommate called her in a panic. A new girl had moved into 3B, and she was hearing knocking at 3:13 a.m. every night. Emma's advice? Whatever you do, don't open the door. There's a bar in New Orleans that locals don't talk about. It doesn't appear on Google Maps. There's no social media page, no reviews, just whispers. Some call it a hollow tap room, but most don't call it anything at all. They just say, don't go drinking alone after midnight, especially on Bourbon Street. Logan, 28, was a traveling musician who didn't believe in superstitions. He played his last gig of the week at a jazz bar near the French Quarter and decided to unwind before heading to his Airbnb. His bandmates were already out cold at the hotel, and Logan didn't feel like going back just yet. As he wandered past neon lights and drunk tourists, he noticed a narrow alley with a flickering red sign above it. Open all night, live spirits. That was all it said. He laughed. Perfect. The alley led to a black door, half open. Inside was dim, smoky, and strangely silent despite a few people scattered along the bar. A man with a waxed mustache and old-fashioned bartender vest stood polishing a glass. "Welcome," the bartender said, not looking up. "You made it just in time." "For what?" "Last call." Logan checked his phone, 12:02 a.m. "Mind if I sit?" Logan asked. The bartender nodded. "Sit wherever you like. But once you order, you stay till closing." Weird thing to say, but Logan just smiled and slid onto a stool. The bar smelled faintly of lavender, whiskey, and something rotten, but Logan chalked it up to old pipes. He looked around. Every person in the bar looked strange. Not weird, just off. A woman in a red dress stared blankly at the jukebox, not blinking. A man in suspenders sipped a drink slowly, staring into the mirror behind the bar like he was hypnotized. No one spoke. No phones. No movement. Logan tapped the counter. "What's on tap?" The bartender smirked. "Tonight, just one thing. The Spirit Special." He poured a golden liquid from a bottle Logan didn't recognize. The label was handwritten and smeared like it had been wet. "You'll like it," the bartender said. "Everyone does. First one's on the house." Logan took a sip. It was smooth, cold, but it made his whole body feel like it was sinking. His ears popped. His vision pulsed. "Damn," he muttered, shaking his head. "That hit hard." "You're feeling it," the bartender said, smiling wider. "That's the house blend. We distill it ourselves from memories." Logan blinked. "What?" Before he could ask again, the jukebox turned on by itself. A slow, haunting jazz tune echoed through the bar, and every patron turned their head at the same time to stare at Logan. He froze. They were all smiling now, wide, too wide. He looked down at his drink. The golden liquid was swirling with faces, tiny screaming faces, mouths open in horror, circling the glass. Logan jumped up. I think I should go. The bartender's smile vanished. I told you, once you order, you stay till closing. I don't care. This is messed up. I'm out. He rushed to the door, but it was gone. Just a brick wall where the entrance had been. Heart racing, Logan turned around. Everyone was standing now, silent, surrounding him. What do you want? He shouted. The woman in the red dress stepped forward. We were like you, once. The man in suspenders added, we had drinks. We heard the music. And then we couldn't leave. Logan backed away, bumping into the bar. The bartender leaned in. This place feeds on the lost, the lonely, the curious. You wanted a nightcap, Logan. You ordered it. Now you're part of the menu. How do you know my name? The bartender laughed. It was in your sip. Your memories are ours now. Logan did the only thing he could think of. He grabbed the bottle behind the bar and smashed it on the counter. The room shrieked. The faces inside the bottle wailed, smoke rising from the broken glass. The jukebox sparked, flickering. In the chaos, a door appeared behind the bar. Exit. Logan didn't hesitate. He jumped the counter and ran through the door. He fell, literally fell, into the alley. It was daylight. Tourists passed by. Jazz music blared from nearby speakers. Logan sat up breathless, sweating. The bar? Gone. Nothing but a solid brick wall with no door or sign. He returned to the same alley the next night, and the next week. It was never there again. But late at night, sometimes, when he's alone and hears old jazz playing in a nearby bar, he swears he can smell lavender and rot. And sometimes in the bottom of his drink, he sees a tiny face screaming. December 31st, 2023, 11:22 p.m. Nina was spending New Year's Eve alone for the first time in her life. Her friends had gone to a massive rooftop party downtown in Chicago, but Nina wasn't in the mood. She'd just gotten out of a 3-year relationship and wanted a quiet night to herself. She had champagne chilling, Chinese takeout on the counter, and the TV playing a New Year's countdown special in the background. Her apartment was cozy, 12 floors up with a balcony view of the city skyline. She wrapped herself in a blanket, turned on the twinkling string lights, and settled in with her cat, Miso. 11:30 p.m. She heard a ding, an elevator arriving. Odd. Her floor was nearly empty during the holidays. Most of the tenants were out of town. Then a knock at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Nina peeked through the peephole. A man in a black suit and fedora stood there. He was tall, pale, and didn't move. She called out, "Can I help you?" He didn't respond, just stood there, staring at the door. Unnerved, she double-checked the lock and walked away. Knock, knock, knock. Again. Same rhythm, same silence. She crept back and looked again. He was closer, leaning toward the peephole, as if he could see her. Her heart jumped. She grabbed her phone to call security, but the line was dead. She tried her cell, no signal. She turned back to the door. He was gone. Relief washed over her. Maybe it was some party-go who got the wrong door. She poured herself champagne and walked to the balcony to watch the fireworks. But down below in the alley stood the same man, looking up at her. She stepped back, slamming the balcony door shut and pulling the curtains. Miso hissed from under the couch. The TV flickered. The countdown froze at 11:50 p.m. Then knock, knock, knock. She gasped. This time the sound came from the balcony. Terror gripped her chest. She moved slowly, pulling the curtain aside just an inch. The man was standing there, on the 12th floor balcony. No rope, no ladder, just standing. His face was emotionless, eyes sunken and hollow. In his hand, he held a small pocket watch, ticking loudly. She stumbled backward, grabbed her keys, and ran to the door, only to freeze. He was standing at the front door again, as if he had split into two. The knocking started from both sides, front door and balcony, in perfect unison. Knock, knock, knock. Miso darted under the bed, growling low. Nina screamed, "What do you want?" Both figures spoke at once, mouths moving in sync. "It's almost time." She covered her ears. The lights exploded, one by one. Total darkness. Only the ticking of the pocket watch echoed now, growing louder. Inside her head, 11:59 p.m. The digital clock on her microwave flashed erratically. She huddled in the corner, clutching Miso, whispering to herself. Then silence. No knocking. No ticking. Nothing. The clock on the TV turned to 12 a.m. Fireworks exploded in the distance. The city celebrated. She slowly looked up. The men were gone. Everything was normal. She burst into tears. It was over. She didn't sleep that night. Kept every light on, every lock double-checked. January 1st, 2024, morning. She checked her hallway camera. Nothing. No one ever came to the door. She checked her balcony cam. Static. Then, for one frame, the footage flickered. A man in black, on the balcony, smiling. Later that day, she shared her story online. A few people laughed. Some said it was a hallucination, but one message stood out. A private DM from a stranger. He comes to those who are alone on New Year's. If you open the door at midnight, you disappear. Did you open the door? Nina didn't reply. She moved out 2 weeks later. Every New Year's Eve since, she makes sure she's never alone, just in case.